Welcome back to PANENKA Predictions. It's week 35 of the English Premier League. Liverpool, they've been crowned champions for the season after their predictable demolition of Tottenham last weekend. Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton, they're already relegated, but we still have 4, maybe even 5 teams all competing for the final 3 Champions League places. So there's still loads to be playing for this weekend. In Spain, Barcelona will be looking to extend their lead at the top of the table over second place Real Madrid as they face last place and already relegated Real Valladolid, while Madrid will be hosting a Celta Vigo side still fighting for European qualification. And this is going to be a big game for Madrid after being beaten by Barcelona yet again in last weekend's Copa del Rey final and then losing their the referees at the final whistle and hurling ice at the referee and then getting 3 red cards. Madrid will need to show a much improved image for their club in this game. And I don't know why they were complaining about the referee in that game. Barcelona had 2, if not 3, pretty clear penalties not given. And I really want to know why they didn't get looked at by VAR. I mean, everyone saw what happened. Cubarsí got pulled back and Ferran Torres, he got fouled in the box. And I want to know why didn't either of those incidents deserve a second look from the VAR officials? I mean, if anyone's got an answer for me, then please let me know in the chat. What actually has to happen for an incident like that to be looked at by VAR, because it's just not clear to me. So there's loads of great games to cover in today's video. Before we get started, please do me the small favor of subscribing to my channel and giving it a like if you enjoy the video to help me make it grow bigger.
Title of your sex tape.
Let's kick off our predictions this week in the Premier League with the 2 most informed teams right now in the Premier League playing against each other. We have Manchester City hosting Wolverhampton. Now before we talk about City, let's just talk about Wolves for a minute here. They've won their last 6 games in the EPL and they're undefeated in their last 8 games in all competitions. No other team in the Premier League is playing as good as Wolves are right now. However, there is another team who is also getting good results recently and need to get the 3 points this weekend to make sure they qualify for the Champions League next season, and that team is Manchester City. After their 2-0 win against Nottingham in the FA Cup semi-finals, Manchester City will be hoping to keep their good form going as they finally have seemed to found the way to cope with the absence of the big man Erling Haaland up front. But it won't be easy against this very confident and very good Wolverhampton side. Traditionally, City have managed to beat Wolves, winning 8 of the last 9 games between these 2 teams, and I do think that another win here is quite possible as well. But I don't see them keeping Wolves quiet for the full 90 minutes though. Wolves, they're scoring for fun right now and they're in red hot form, and they will probably get on the score sheet again in this game, although they may eventually still lose it in the end. But I don't think they'll be too upset with that as they're now safe from relegation and they can start planning for next season after, of course, a very well-deserved holiday. I like this game and I do think we'll see a few goals in it, and my prediction for ManCity at home against Wolverhampton is going to be for both teams to score. Next up we have Aston Villa at home against Fulham. Villa are currently in 7th place, just 3 points behind a European qualification spot for next season, and I'm sure after this year's successful venture into the Champions League they'll be wanting another crack at it next year. They seem to have dropped off a bit in form after being eliminated from Europe, winning 1 of their next 3 games. They lost their last 2 games both away from home. However, at home, they are far more consistent and they'll be wanting to get the 3 points against Fulham this weekend. Fulham, well, they're not really playing for much anymore at the moment. They're enjoying their football and they're still playing some very good football at times. And in their last 4 games, they've actually won 2 and they've lost 2 as well. And aside from that 1-0 loss away to Bournemouth, most of their games tend to produce quite a few goals in them. So with Aston Villa needing to get the win here and just not being in the best form at the moment, and Fulham having some really good attacking players, I do think they're going to be goals in this game. I think Aston Villa will probably edge it, winning 2-1 if I was to try and predict the scoreline. However, just to be a bit safer for this game, I'm just going to predict that Aston Villa will score at least 2 goals in this game against Fulham. Next up, we're off to Goodison Park for Everton at home against Ipswich. Now, the reason I like this game is down to one thing alone, and that is motivation. The motivation of the home team in their last season at home at Goodison Park. This is their second last game in this stadium and they'll want to get a few wins under their belt before they leave this stadium. And against an already relegated Ipswich town, it gives them a very good chance to bag a win here and give the home fans something to celebrate. I mean, Everton, they're playing okay, but they've just not been getting the results recently, and I do see that changing for them this weekend. Ipswich, they've lost 3 out of their last 4, and I think the difference in motivation between these two teams will see Ipswich notch up their loss number 4. So my prediction for Everton at home against Ipswich Town is simply going to be for an Everton home win. Next, we're traveling way down the table as we have two teams that are already relegated going head to head and playing simply for pride. It's Leicester City at home against Southampton. I think this has got the makings of a very entertaining game. Both teams have horrible defenses and both teams do have players that can score goals. Leicester, they might be slight favourites because they're at home, but for Southampton, I think they're good for a goal in this game, so it makes it pretty straightforward for me. I do think Leicester will get the home win here, but for my prediction between Leicester City and Southampton, I'm simply going for both teams to score. Next up, we have Brentford in 11th place taking on Manchester United down in 14th. Brentford right now, they're not playing too badly. They got a good win at home against Brighton last weekend, and before that they drew against Arsenal, and before that they drew against Chelsea, so they'll be confident of being able to at least get a point, if not 3, from this game. And Manchester United's season right now, it's really all down to the Europa League for them. They'll come into this game after having played a very tough semi-final first leg away game against Athletic Bilbao, and I do think they might end up losing that game, but even if they don't, it's going to be a very physical and tiring night for them in Bilbao. So this game in between the two semi-final legs, I feel will be of less importance to them, and they might actually rest quite a few of their first team players. And given that Brentford are in decent form and have some really good attacking players in their team, and that Manchester United are just going to be more concerned about the games against Bilbao, I can actually see Brentford sneaking a home win here, maybe just 1-0 or 2-1 in the end. Either way, my prediction between Brentford and Manchester United is going to be for a Brentford home win. And as always, I do like the big man and Mbeumo's chances of getting a goal in this game. Brighton down in 9th place take on Newcastle United, hoping to remain in 3rd place on the table. Now this is going to be a fun game. Brighton, they'll be confident after their 3-2 win at home against West Ham last weekend, where they scored 2 goals in the last 3 minutes to come from behind and record a very impressive victory. And look, even when Brighton, they don't go on to win their games with amazing finishes in the dying seconds, most of their games do tend to have lots of goals in them. Actually, their last 10 Premier League games have all recorded over 2.5 goals in them. And Newcastle United, well, their last 6 games have all had over 2.5 goals in them, and actually 3 of those 6 had 5 goals in each game. And given that Newcastle are the slightly better team and they need to get the win in this game, and that Brighton are going to be full of confidence at home and actually with a better head-to-head between the two, I think this game is going to have goals galore in it. I can definitely see both teams scoring. I think Newcastle could go on to score 2 goals in this game the way they're playing, and to be fair, I could say the same thing about Brighton. So this one for me, it appears more straightforward, and I'm going to predict over 2.5 goals between Brighton and Newcastle. Our next game features Chelsea holding on to 5th place, hosting newly crowned Premier League champions Liverpool. Chelsea recorded their 2nd win in a row last weekend at home against Everton, and will need to hope that Liverpool have decided to start taking their holidays a little bit earlier in order to secure win number 3. A tough ask against a team like Liverpool, but considering that Liverpool are already champions, they might not be as hungry as Chelsea to get the win in this game. I don't think that Chelsea are good enough of a team to be able to keep Liverpool from scoring in this game, even if Liverpool don't put in their best performance. To be fair, I'm sure Liverpool will go for the win in this game. They'll want to keep adding points to their tally, and this could end up being a very entertaining game. Chelsea, they need to score, and Liverpool, well, they'll just be able to score. I'm not really sure who's going to win this one. It might end up in a score draw, but for my prediction between Chelsea and Liverpool, I'm going for both teams to score. In La Liga, we have bottom place and the equivalent of a Spanish Southampton, Real Valladolid at home against 1st place Barcelona. Now, it's pretty obvious that Barcelona are huge favourites to get the win in this game. However, can Valladolid pull off the upset of the season? Not likely. Barcelona beat them 7-0 at home earlier on in the season, and in their last 4 games, Valladolid have conceded an average of 4 goals per game. And of course, Barcelona, they've got their Champions League semi-final against Inter to deal with first, and they'll pretty much be able to field a 2nd string side in this game and still come away with a comfortable win. So to keep this straightforward, I'm simply going to predict a Barcelona away win by 2 goals or more. Next up is, of course, Barcelona chasing Real Madrid, and they're at home against Celta Vigo. Now, we all know about Madrid's situation right now. Things are not looking good for them, but they're still only 4 points behind Barcelona in the table, so they will absolutely be needing to get the win in this game. But against the Celta Vigo side, who have scored 6 goals in their last 2 games and who are fighting for a European qualification spot for next season, this is not going to be easy. Plus, they'll be without their key centre-back, Antonio Rudiger, as he's either going to be injured or suspended, so it seems Courtois is going to have some work to do this weekend. And after conceding 3 goals against Barca, 2 goals against Arsenal and 2 goals against Valencia before that, I think Madrid will concede at least 1 goal in this game against a red-hot Celta Vigo. But as they need to push for the win, I can also see Madrid scoring a second, maybe even a third goal, and maybe this game will possibly end up having 4 goals in it. So obviously I'm actually hoping for a 2-2 draw or a 3-1 win to Celta Vigo. However, for my prediction between Real Madrid and Celta Vigo, I'm just going to go for over 2.5 goals. They're all my predictions for this weekend's football, guys. And before I give you my top 3 predictions, please let me know your predictions for these games down in the comments section for me. Now, for my top 3 predictions for this weekend's games, my third favorite prediction is for Aston Villa to score 2 or more goals at home against Fulham. My second favorite prediction is for over 2.5 goals between Real Madrid and Celta Vigo. And my number 1 prediction for this weekend's games comes from the Brighton vs Newcastle game, and I'm predicting over 2.5 goals in that one. Those are my top 3 predictions for this weekend's football action. Let me know your top 3 predictions down in the comments. Enjoy the Champions League semi-finals, enjoy the EPL, enjoy the Liga. Have a great weekend, everyone. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and please give this video a like if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all again very soon.